Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you are with us again. This is day 119 of our daily Bible reading, and we're back. Our cat Frankie says hello, and we're back in First Chronicles, and we're going to cover chapters 7 through 10. That's right, Frankie, 7 through 10. So, if everybody's ready, let's begin. Issachar's descendants, chapter 7. Issachar's sons, Tola, Puah, Yashub, and Shimron, 4. Tola's sons, Uzzi, Rephaiah, Yeriel, Yamai, Ibsam, and Shemuel, the heads of their ancestral families. During David's reign, 22,600 descendants of Tola were recorded as valiant warriors in their family records. Uzzi's son, Izraiah. Izraiah's sons, Michael, Obadiah, Yoel, Ishia. All 5 of them were chiefs. Along with them, they had 36,000 troops for battle, according to the family records of their ancestral families, for they had many wives and children. Their tribesmen, who were valiant warriors belonging to all the families of Issachar, totaled 87,000 in their genealogies. Benjamin's descendants. 3 of Benjamin's sons, Bela, Becher, and Yediael. Bela's sons, Esbon, Uzzi, Uzziel, Yerimot, and Iri, 5. They were valiant warriors and heads of their ancestral families. 22,034 were listed in their genealogies. Becher's sons, Zemirah, Joash, Eliser, Elionai, Omri, Yeremot, Aviyah, Anatot, and Alemeth. All these were Becher's sons. Their family records were recorded according to the heads of their ancestral families, 20,200 valiant warriors. Yediael's son, Bilhan. Bilhan's sons, Yeush, Benjamin, Behud, Kenahana, Zetan, Tarshish, and Ahishahar. All these sons of Yediael, listed by family heads, were valiant warriors. There were 17,200 who could serve in the army. Shupim and Hupim were sons of Ir, and the Hushim, who were the sons of Aher. Naphtali's descendants. Naphtali's sons, Yaziel, Guni, Yezer, and Shalom, Bilhah's sons. Manasseh's descendants. Manasseh's sons through his Aramean concubine, Asriel and Machir, the father of Gilead. Machir took wives from Hupim and Shupim. The name of his sister was Maacah. Another descendant was named Zelophehad, but he only had daughters. Machir's wife, Maacah, gave birth to a son, and she named him Peresh. His brother was named Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Rechem. Ulam's son, Bedan. These were the sons of Gilad's son of Machir. These were the sons of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh. His sister, Hamolechet, gave birth to Ishhod, Abiezer, and Malah. Shemidah's sons, Ahian, Shechem, Liki, and Aniam. Ephraim's descendants. Ephraim's sons, Shelulelah, Shutelah, and his son Bered, his son Tahat, his son Elidah, his son Tahat, his son Zabad, his son Shutelah, and Ezer and Eliad. Or also Ezer and Eliad. The men of Gath, born in the land, killed them because they were down to raid their cattle. Their father Ephraim mourned a long time, and his relatives came to comfort him. he slept with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. So he named him Beriah, because there had been misfortune in his home. His daughter was Sherah, who built Lower and Upper Beth Horon and Uzzen Sherah. His son Repha, his son Resheph, his son Telah, his son Tahan, his son Ladan, his son Amihud, his son Elishama, his son Nun, and his son Joshua. Their holdings and settlements were Bethel and its surrounding villages, Naran to the east, Gezer and its villages to the west, and Shechem and its villages as far as Ayah and its villages, and along the borders of the descendants of Manasseh, Bet-Shean, Taanach, Megiddo, and Dor, with their surrounding villages. The sons of Yosef, son of Israel, lived in these towns. Asher's descendants. Asher's sons, Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah, with their sister Serah. Beriah's sons, Heber and Malchiel, who fathered Birsaith. Heber fathered Japhlet, Shomer, and Hotam, and their sister Shua. Japhlet's sons, Pasach, Bimhal, and Ashvat. These were Japhlet's sons. Shemer's sons, Ahi, Rogah, Hubah, and Aram. His brother Helem's sons, Sophah, Imah, Shelesh, and Amal. Zophah's sons, Suah, Henefer, Shual, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Hod, Shammah, Shilshah, Ithron, and Berah. Yeter's sons, Yephuneh, Pispa, and Arah. Ulah's sons, Arah, Aniel, and Risiah. All these were Asher's descendants. They were the heads of their ancestral families, chosen men, valiant warriors, and chiefs among the leaders. The number of men listed in their genealogies for military service was 26,000. Benjamin's descendants, chapter 8. Benjamin fathered Bela, his firstborn. Ashbel was born second, Aharah third, Nohah fourth, and Rapha fifth. Bela's sons, Adar, Gera, Avihud, Avishua, Naaman, Ahua, Gera, Shephupham, and Huram. These were Ehud's sons, who were the heads of the families living in Geba and who were deported to Mahanath. Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera. Gera deported them and was the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. Shaharaim had sons in the territory of Moab after he had divorced his wives Hushim and Barah. His sons by his wife Hodesh, Yodab, Zibiah, Mesha, Malkam, Yeutz, Sahiah, and Mirmah. These were his sons, family heads. He also had sons by Hushim, Avitub, and Elpaal. Elpaal's sons, Eber, Misham, and Shemed, who built Ono and Lod, and its surrounding villages. Beriah and Shema, who were the family heads of Ayalon's residents, and who drove out the residents of Gath, Ahio, Shashak, and Yeremot. Zebadiah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, and Yoha were Beriah's sons. Zebadiah, Meshulam, Hiski, Heber, Ishmerai, Isliah, and Yobab were Elpaal's sons. Yakim, Zichri, Sabdi, Elianai, Ziletai, Eliel, Adaiah, Beriah, and Shimrat were Shimei's sons. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zichri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anotijah, Ifdeah, and Penuel were Shashak's sons. Shamsherai, Shehariah, Ataliah, Yaharishah, Eliah, and Zichri were Jeroham's sons. These were family heads, chiefs according to their family records. They lived in Jerusalem. Yael fathered Gibeon and lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah. Abdon was his firstborn son. Then Zur, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zecher, and Miklot, who fathered Shimeah. These also lived opposite their relatives in Jerusalem with their other relatives. Ner fathered Kish, Kish fathered Shaul, and Shaul fathered Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan's son was Merib-Baal, and Merib-Baal fathered Micah. Micah's sons, Pitom, Melech, Teriah, and Ahaz. Ahaz fathered Jehoiada. Jehoiada fathered Alemet, Asmaphet, and Zimri. And Zimri fathered Mosa. Mosa fathered Beniah. His son was Rapha, his son Elasah, and his son Azel. Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bocheru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. All these were Azel's sons. His brother Eshek's sons: Ulam was his firstborn, Yeush second, and Eliphelet third. Ulam's sons were valiant warriors and archers. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 of them. All these were among Benjamin's sons. After the exile, chapter 9. All Israel was registered in the genealogies that are written in the book of the kings of Israel. But Judah was exiled to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. The first to live in their towns on their own property again were Israelites, priests, Levites, and temple servants. These people from the descendants of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh settled in Jerusalem. Utai, son of Amihud, son of Omri, son of Imri, son of Bani, a descendant of Peretz, son of Judah. From the Shilonites, Asaiah the firstborn and his sons. And from the descendants of Serah, Yeuel and their relatives, 690 in all. The Benjaminites, Salu, son of Meshulam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hasenua. Sorry about that. Ibneah, son of Yeroham. Elah, son of Uzi, son of Michri. Meshulam, son of Shephotiah, son of Reuel, son of Ibniyah, and their relatives according to their family records, 956 in all. All these men were heads of their ancestral families. The priests, Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, Yachin. Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshulam, son of Zadok, son of Merayot, son of Ahitub, the chief official of God's temple. Adaiah, son of Yeroham, son of Pashhur, son of Malchijah. Masai, son of Adiel, son of Yarzerah, son of Meshulam, son of Meshileamith, son of Immer, and their relatives, the heads of their ancestral families, 1,760 in all. They were capable men employed in the ministry of God's temple. The Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashub, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah, of the Merarites. Bakbakar, Heresh, Galal, and Mattaniah, son of Micah,
son of Zikri, son of Asaph. Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, son of Galal, son of Yedutun. And Berechiah, son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who lived in the settlements of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers, Shallum, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their relatives. Shallum was their chief. He was previously stationed at the king's gate on the east side. These were the gatekeepers from the camp of the Levites. Shallum, son of Koreh, son of Ebiasaph, son of Korah, and his relatives from the ancestral family, the Korahites, were assigned to guard the thresholds of the tent. Their ancestors had been assigned to the Lord's camp as guardians of the entrance. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Elsar, had been their leader, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The total number of those chosen to be gatekeepers at the thresholds was 212. They were registered by genealogy in their settlements. David and the seer Shmuel had appointed them to their trusted positions. So they and their sons were assigned as guards to the gates of the Lord's temple, which had been the tent temple. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their relatives came from their settlements at fixed times to be with them 7 days. But the four chief gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the rooms and the treasuries of God's temple. They spent the night in the vicinity of God's temple, because they had guard duty and were in charge of opening it every morning. Some of them were in charge of the utensils used in worship. They would count them when they brought them in and when they took them out. Others were put in charge of the furnishings and all the utensils of the sanctuary, as well as the fine flour, wine, oil, incense, and spices. Some of the priest's sons mixed the spices. A Levite called Mattithiah, the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with baking the bread. Some of the Kohathites' relatives were responsible for preparing the rows of the bread of the presence every Shabbat. The singers, the heads of the Levite families, stayed in the temple chambers and were exempt from other tasks because they were on duty day and night. These were the heads of the Levite families, chiefs according to their family records. They lived in Jerusalem. Shaul's family. Yael fathered Gibeon and lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah. Abdon was his firstborn son. Then Sur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Miklot. Miklot fathered Shimeam. These also lived opposite their relatives in Jerusalem with their other relatives. Ner fathered Kish, Kish fathered Shaul, and Shaul fathered Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan's son was Merib-Baal, and Merib-Baal fathered Micah. Micah's sons, Piton, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz fathered Yarah. Yarah fathered Alemet, Asmavet, and Zimri. Zimri fathered Mosa. Mosa fathered Biniah. His son was Rephaiah, his son Elisah, and his son Asel. Asel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bocheru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were Asel's sons. The death of Shaul and his sons, chapter 10. The Philistines fought against Israel, and Israel's men fled from them. Many were killed on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines pursued Shaul and his sons and killed his sons Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. When the battle intensified against Shaul, the archers spotted him and severely wounded him. Then Shaul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through it with it, or these uncircumcised men will come and torture me." But his armor-bearer would not do it, because he was terrified. Then Shaul took his sword and fell on it. When his armor-bearer saw that Shaul was dead, he also fell on his own sword and died. So Shaul and his 3 sons died. His whole house died together. When all the men of Israel in the valley saw that the army had fled, and that Shaul and his sons were dead, they abandoned their cities and fled. So the Philistines came and settled in them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, they found Shaul and his sons dead on Mount Gilboa. They stripped Shaul, cut off his head, took his armor, and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to spread the good news to their idols and to the people. Then they put his armor in the temple of their gods and hung his skull in the temple of Dagon. When all Jabesh Gilead heard of everything the Philistines had done to Shaul, all their brave men set out and retrieved the body of Shaul and the bodies of his sons, and brought them to Jabesh. They buried their bones under the oak in Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. Shaul died for his unfaithfulness to the Lord, because he did not keep the Lord's word. He even consulted a medium for guidance, but he did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, son of Yishai. May the Lord bless the reading and study of his word.